everything around you, especially with homeowners insurance, like, oh man, everything should be covered. And that's not a reality. And that's why I like to educate people on this is what insurance is for. This is how we can bring your premium down a little bit.
You're giving them a mortgage, whatever the case may be, and you're looking at what their history is, and you don't know them. So you don't know if they're a good person, a bad person, you know, ugly, beautiful, tall, short, like you don't know any of these kinds of things, right? All you know is what is sitting in front of you. Would you yourself loan them the money? Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Financial Mastery Simplified. I am your host, Jax Crider, where we are trying to take anything that touches the financial space and make it easy to understand, make it easy to obtain, and talk about things that not everybody wants to talk about. Today, my guest is Mr. Zach Petticus. He is in the insurance space, property and casualty, and he works for farmers. So I'm going to kind of give him a few minutes to explain like who he is, why he got into all this kind of stuff. So welcome, Zach.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here. Like Jack said, my name's Zach Petticus. I've an agency here in Flower Mound, Texas, and I work for Farmers Insurance, and we do everything from property and casualty to commercial life insurance. And currently, based on being on this financial mastery podcast, I'm working on getting my financial services license as well, my Series 6 and 63. Nice. And then we can provide even more options for people at that point. My phone's ringing, so let me turn that off. And I guess that's a good thing, right? I've been doing this for coming up on 3 years now. I ended up moving here to Texas from California. I have a wife and 4 children, and we were living in California. I was a firefighter. My wife started out as a nurse, and then she was staying home with the kids after we had a couple kids. And the hustle and bustle of California, the job of being a firefighter, being away from home, not knowing how long I was going to be stuck at the fire station, or just a multitude of things, we decided it was time to make a change. And so I've spoke to one of my good buddies, Rob, who is a other insurance agent. So he kind of guided me through this process of doing a career change with 4 kids. And then that all morphed into moving as well. So we decided to move halfway across the country and start a whole new career all at once, which has been awesome. It's been stressful, but it's been awesome that we've been able to move out here to Texas. We love the area. I love what I'm doing. And it's been an overall extremely positive move for me and my family.
So why insurance over anything else you could have picked?
Sure. So being a firefighter for 10 years, obviously I have experience in firefighting. There's not a ton of correlated careers that I can just move right into. And I also, having 4 kids, a wife, a mortgage, all those fun things, I can't just start over and start out at square one, making a minimal amount of money and provide for my family. So I needed to find something where I could come into immediately and also just kind of put things on my shoulders in terms of being productive and making money for the family. And so this was an option for me to move into a space where with firefighting, I'm on the before the insurance side. Now I'm on the after of making sure that we're protecting those assets. So I had a little bit of knowledge about insurance. And then, like I said, one of my good friends was an insurance agent. And he thought that based on my personality, based off of just my ability to either speak with people or the situation with the family, just it would work out really well for me based off of those things. And so after doing some research and talking to people, I ended up purchasing a book of business, which worked out really well because then I already have a existing book of business to work from and grow rather than starting from scratch and having an unknown of moving, new career, not having any clients. So at least having something there was a good option for me that gave me the ability to then learn as I went, with having a staff member already on when I started, which was an incredible experience.
Yeah, and I think I remember because so Zach and I have known each other for quite a few years now. I think if I remember correctly, part of the last thing you did in firefighting was that you did some of the inspection type stuff, like to try to figure out like where the fire
Yeah,
actually started from and things like that, right? And you actually
correct.
saw some
Yeah,
people who weren't properly protected and lost everything through that
sure.
process.
Yes. So yeah, we obviously being a fireman, you're going on fires. Obviously, it's not all the time, but there are times when you go on fires and people have either a car fire where you lose your vehicle, or a home fire where you lose your home or part of your home. And so, my secondary assignment with the fire department was a fire investigator. So I was one of the individuals that would get called out to the fires to find the cause and origin of the fire and how it started, where it started, what happened. And so I would have to talk to the homeowners to see, get information, figure out where they were, what was going on. And one of the questions that we always ask is, where do you have insurance? Because you're going to want to start the claims process with that. So a lot of the time people had insurance, but there was a few times where people said, "Oh no, we let our insurance lapse after the first couple of years because we just thought it was a waste of money." And now they're sitting there with a home that is burned to the ground, and they have all their possessions in there. Their
Yeah.
whole life is there, and it's gone. And so, moving into the insurance space, now I at least have tangible items or tangible um,
Examples.
examples of how people
Yeah,
have lost
you really
everything. So
can lose
now,
everything.
yeah, and I don't want people to lose everything. I want to be able to make sure that I'm insuring people properly, that everything is taken care of in the event that they do have a tragic event like that. And so that was also a reason why I felt like this transition, although going from firefighter to insurance sales is a lot different in terms of the amount of activities that I'm, or what activities I'm doing, there's still a bit of a cross there with the knowledge that I needed in both spaces.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it makes sense. I mean, and for those of viewers who don't know, I actually started my career right out of college. So I had already done mortgage while I was in college, and then I started my career out of college in the property and casualty space. And what that means is like homeowners, auto insurance, that kind of insurances. So I, like Zach, like have some information in this field and did this for a period of time. What's interesting to me is that a lot of times people think just that. They think, oh, this is a waste of money. Like, I haven't had a claim in forever. And honestly, that is the ideal situation, right? You don't want to have the claim because it is a pain in the butt to go through the claims process, to have to deal with, getting a new car or getting your car fixed or fixing your house or whatever, right? And stuff like that. And so I think a lot of times people don't see the value. And the truth of the matter is a lot of things in the financial space, well, let's be real, they're not necessarily sexy, right? It's not sexy to think to yourself, man, I gotta lop out this much money on a monthly or annual basis to pay for these kinds of insurances or coverages or mortgage or whatever it is, right? Like it's just not like a fun thing. But the truth of the
Right.
matter is it is super, super important. And my attitude always is about everything in the financial space is however you get there intentionally, right? Make whatever decisions that you want to make, but make sure that you've got the knowledge to back the decisions. So I mean, I have known of investors who own properties outright and they don't choose to insure them on the financial
Mhm.
sense. Now, to me, that seems crazy because it's such a minor amount of money, right? For like that risk. And you just never know what can happen. But the reality is at least they did it knowingly, right? Like they made
Correct.
that choice,
Yes,
good or
and
bad.
I think that that's a great point because obviously people, whenever the insurance comes around every 6 months or annually, you look at the premiums, you're like, man, this is crazy that I'm paying this. But you got to look at the back end of that in the event that you do have some type of loss that is unexpected, rather than paying out $75,000 if you have a nice car, you're paying out $500 or $1,000,
Right,
and so
exactly.
those premiums are going towards something, and it's also, I think there's been a bit of a change in the insurance industry and a change and I think some of the insurance companies honestly have done it to themselves in terms of what insurance is for. So on TV, I see all the time, like, oh, we're covering this, we're covering that. You have insurance. We'll make sure we get you covered for this, that, and the other. And it's like everything around you, especially with homeowners insurance, like, oh man, everything should be covered. And that's not a reality. And that's why
Right.
I like to educate people on this is what insurance is for. This is how we can bring your premium down a little bit, because this would be something that isn't that expensive to fix, and you should fix this out of pocket. If you file a claim, then you're going to get a surcharge. Then there's going to
Sure.
be all these detrimental effects down the line. And so having an agent, and for insurance, for your finances, for all these different things, helps you line these things up to protect yourself in the future, rather than just flying by the seat of your pants and hoping nothing happens, which hopefully nothing does happen. But in the event that something does, you want to make sure that you have the proper coverage, and that you are setting yourself up for success for the future.
Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this message from our sponsors.
Welcome to Financial Mastery Simplified, your go-to podcast for making smart money decisions. We break down complex financial topics into easy-to-understand advice you can use every day. Our experts cover everything from budgeting and saving to investing and retirement planning. We give you the tools to take control of your money and build the future you want. With Financial Mastery Simplified, you'll feel informed and empowered to make the best choices for your financial health. Tune in to Financial Mastery Simplified on your favorite podcast platform. Start your journey to financial confidence today. Welcome to House U, where we believe in the power of education. At House U, we're more than just a brand. We're your partner in home ownership, dedicated to educating, equipping, and empowering you every step of the way. Education is at the heart of everything we do. We offer comprehensive resources designed to make home ownership simple and accessible for all. From understanding mortgage options to mastering home maintenance, House U provides the knowledge you need to make informed decisions with confidence. We host workshops and seminars, bringing together experts and community members to share insights and build a stronger, more informed community. Because when you're educated, you're empowered. House U, home ownership made simple for all. Visit our website or contact us today to start your journey with House U. Empower yourself with knowledge and embrace the joy of home ownership.
Now back to our conversation.
Well, that's how you get your rear in a sling, is like you always think it's not going to happen to you, right? I mean, that's the old adage with anything. Oh, it's not going to happen to me until it does. I mean, a perfect example is we can use myself. So Zach is my actual insurance agent, and he knows that we had this crazy situation scenario where our house was actually listed for sale. We were not living there. And what happened is we don't know if it was the inspector, the buyer, the buyer's agent, somebody left a half bath water running. There must have been a small stoppage in the sink of some kind that we weren't aware of that caused that sink to overflow. And it ran for 3.5 days. Yes, I said 3.5 days. And it flooded a large section of our house. Now, the tune of how much money the fix is a lot, like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So if we did not have insurance, that would have been a lot of money that we would have had to come out with out of pocket. And that amount of money could absolutely financially just decimate somebody. I mean, just pretty much take them out. Right? So now we obviously had to have insurance because we have a mortgage. And for those of you who don't know, if you are in the process or going to buy a house, if you're going to have any kind of a lien against that house in the form of financing mortgage, then they are going to require you to have it. It's not going to be a choice. You have to have it. But regardless, I would have had insurance anyways because of exactly that, right? Now, remind yourself too, it's not always a good idea to file all the little piddly stuff like you said. Because a lot of people believe, oh, I had this $5,000 little minor thing, I should go ahead and file an insurance claim. Well, remind yourself that with anything in the financial space, and I tell this to people all the time, it's not about you personally, okay? The people in the back end don't know you. They don't ever meet you. They don't care about like your personal life. They just don't. All they're looking at is numbers, and it's usually a risk-based system. So how high of a risk are you? And the more claims you file, typically the higher risk you are to file another claim. And so it will go against you, right?
Sure.
Like in our area, we deal with hail a lot. That's a big, huge issue. And people say, oh, well, it's not going to surcharge because it's a natural
cat.
occurring event,
Yeah.
right? Which is true. It does not surcharge against you. However, it does increase all of the policies and the whole area, which will affect you.
And it can affect your eligibility, because that's another thing too, especially here in Texas right now, is the eligibility, and then the amount of claims, and then the value of those claims.
So explain what you mean by eligibility.
So eligibility would be in the event you have your insurance policy and you come up for renewal. The current company is either going to send you a renewal, or they're going to say, hey, we're non-renewing you based off of whatever reason it may be. So then if you get non-renewed, you got to go find a new policy. But finding that policy, all of your claims that you have made in the past are in a system that when I go to quote it, it will show me, hey, they filed a claim in 2017, they filed a claim in 2019, they filed another claim in 2023. And so it will be like, okay, well, they filed however many claims in the past 4 or 5 years, whatever different carriers are looking at. And they're like, we're not going to insure that person because they are filing too many claims. Sometimes,
right, the objective is they think they're going to file a bunch more claims. That's what they think.
Correct. And that it may have just been, that you were in a bad spot 3 different times and you had to file claims. So there's nothing wrong with doing that. However, like Jack said previously, the people who are making the decisions as far as the underwriters, they don't know you. They're the bean counters, or they're the ones that are figuring out, oh, hey, they filed this amount of claim. We've paid out this much. That risk is too high for us. We're done with that one. And so coming back to the small little claims, if you have less of those, that's a great thing, because it makes you more, look like a better risk for the insurance companies to take, which would then give you a better rating. And this all comes back to credit too. So there's your FICA score for whatever loans or whatever you're getting that they're looking at. There's an insurance credit score as well. It's made up of different things, not specifically just your financial habits, but it does play a factor into what your insurance rating is as well. So, and the claims come into that as well. So,
right. The idea behind insurance and some of that risk aspect, and I always try to explain to my customers or people that I talk to kind of in respect to these kinds of things, is that, like, remind yourself, they're basically looking at it on, like, it's just the same concept of, like, when they want to loan you money, right? Like, so if it was your own money and you were giving it out or whatever, you were insuring somebody, you're giving them a mortgage, whatever the case may be, and you're looking at what their history is, and you don't know them. So you don't know if they're a good person, a bad person, you know, ugly, beautiful, tall, short, like, you don't know any of these kinds of things, right? All you know is what is sitting in front of you. Would you yourself loan them the money? Would you insure them, yourself or whatever? And it's just about business. It's not about a personal situation. It's not about a personal, whatever. So I always tell people, be really strategic in how you choose to do that, right? How do you choose to make claims and things of that sort, right? And a lot of times this also goes back to something that I talk about a lot, which is make sure that you have good professionals in your corner, right? Mm-hmm. Because, like, for instance, when you're asking yourself if you go ahead and file a claim or not, you can pick up that phone and ask, your agent, hey, should I do this? Is this a good idea? This is my problem or whatever, because the reality is a lot of that information can help you make your decision as well. Right. Because life happens.
For sure. Cause that's what I'm here for. That's what the ladies in my office are here for. Cause we would much rather you call our office, cause you're going to get a better answer from us than if you just call immediately and talk to the claims people. Their job is to file the claim. They don't know whether they're not going to tell you, oh, no, you probably shouldn't file it. They're just going to say, hey, what happened? I'm filing the claim. And once you file the claim, one of the big misconceptions is, oh, okay, I filed the claim, and then I'm just going to say, oh, I'm not going to move forward with it. Take it off my record. That it doesn't work like that. Your insurance company may say, "Oh yeah, we're gonna cancel it," but it still shows up. You can't once it's on there, it's not coming off. Which it'll show as zero pay, which is better than obviously having money paid out. But we could prevent this whole thing from happening if you just call myself if I'm your agent, or call your agent and say, hey, what should I do? And the beauty about, especially when it comes to, well, it could be auto or home losses, you can get somebody out there to get you an estimate or fix the problem. And then if things start to spiral out of control and it's like, oh, hey, I thought this was going to be a $2,000 fix and now it's spiraled into it's going to be $30,000.
Right.
Make sure you document everything, but you can file the claim later and be like, hey, we thought that this was small, but this ended up being a lot bigger, and we were going to handle it out of pocket, and now we're not going to do that. And then you can file the claim and they'll get everything handled on the back end. This way you're preventing yourself from more hiccups down the line when if you're trying to get a new policy and they're like, oh, well, looks like you filed 2 claims. They're going to, well, nothing got paid out. Well, you still filed 2 claims. So
that's right.
We're not going to take a look at you right now. And it's a tough market right now for insurance companies, especially in markets like California, Texas, Florida. All those areas have big natural disasters that have occurred over the past 5-6 years. And then with inflation and everything too, there's a lot of risk that these companies are trying to mitigate. And so the first people to go are the ones that have filed a bunch of claims or that we paid out a ton of money on. So it's just something to be cognizant of. And it stresses me out to say that a little bit because I don't want it to come across like, oh, well, you should never file a claim. You absolutely, if you need to file a claim, you file a claim. It's just we want to file.
Yeah, but you're saying be smart about it. It's like when we first had the issue, we did not know we didn't know how much water damage there truly was in our house. Mm-hmm. Like we didn't really have a clue. And as we started sort of uncovering things, we determined, okay, yeah, this was a major issue. Like we are going to have to file like a full-blown claim, right? Mm-hmm. Not that that's what we wanted to do, but like there was just no option because of the dollar figure, right? Like we had to file the claim. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people, what they don't realize is that, yes, you do want to go through. Like I will say this for everybody who is listening. If you live in the state of Texas, this is very important for you to know. Number one, in order to be a roofer in the state of Texas, you do not have to have a license of any kind, okay? What I mean by that is the state does not mandate that you have any kind of particular license. So some roofers do have a license, but it's not mandatory. It's not like, oh, if you want to be a roofer, you've got to have a license, okay? And then number two, when any kind of hailstorm happens, there are literally companies that as soon as a hailstorm happens, random people will start just knocking on doors. People that have never been in roofing before, people that have been roofing forever, and everybody in between will start knocking on doors and try to start convincing you that you have hail damage. Because what happens is they're going to tell you, oh, well, guess what? Good news. Your insurance company is going to handle it and you're going to get a brand new roof. And so in your mind, you're like, okay. And then you're thinking, well, is this going to hurt my insurance? And they're smart enough to know that it does not surcharge you on your insurance, okay? What I mean by that is it's not going to actually like go against you on your policy and charge you additional money. But what it does do is it increases the overall risk and pool insurance is paid out in the whole area and the whole state. Yep. And this does rise insurance cost. So it doesn't just raise your insurance cost, it raises your neighbors, it raises everybody's around you because of that. And sometimes if you deal with a really good and reputable roofer, what they'll do is they will tell you that maybe there's only like a little bit of damage. So like you can literally replace a few shingles, or maybe there's enough pings where it's not going to like create a problem right this second. And so you need to go ahead and wait. And then if we get a more major hailstorm, then it might be, reasonable enough for you to go ahead and file a claim.
Yep. And that it 100% comes back to, is this an issue where it's going to create more problems?
Right.
For my roof, we had big hailstorm last May. And so about a year ago, and I had 2 roofers come out and they both said, well, one guy's like, no, you're good. The other guy's like, well, it's borderline. I could get you a roof if you want. I'm like, well, I don't want a roof. I'm happy as long as my roof's good and I'm not leaking. Sure. I'm good. Exactly. And so that's where for many years, especially like Jax was saying here in North Texas, the roofers are like, well, we can get you a new roof. Let's just do it. And the repercussions of that are starting to catch up to consumers with the rate increases that have taken, because you paid out for all these roofs that, sometimes it does need to be replaced, but there's quite a few times where the roof could last another few years and we don't need to do it now. We can wait there's maybe a little bit of cosmetic damage, but there's no leaks, there's no nothing like that. You can just keep on going.
I was going to say, yeah, I mean, a lot of people most roofs are intended to last 10 plus years, right?
Mhm.
So like think about that. And I mean, I know people who have like been replacing them like every couple of years, and I'm like, man, you guys are crazy. Like that just does not make sense.
Yeah.
Also, remind yourself, and this is something I don't ever understand either. So hailstorms last for a good 3 or 4 months in Texas, right? Like we usually start around April-ish, May-ish, and we go all the way until August, September-ish, somewhere in this ballpark-ish, right?
Yeah.
And what happens a lot of times too is people will start replacing their roofs at the beginning of the season. And especially when it isn't to the level where like it's going to start like leaking immediately kind of thing. And
Yeah.
it's like we might get 2 or 3 more hailstorms in that window of time. So like I've known people or with vehicles too, right? And they want to get that stuff replaced immediately because they want their car to look perfect. And I'm like, I hear what you're saying, but
Yeah.
like be smart about this. Like be
Yes.
smart when you're deciding to file a claim, because if you file a claim, you get your car fixed or whatever, and then we have another hailstorm in a month.
Yeah.
You could have the same amount of damage again. And now you're going to have 2 claims. And again, this goes to, so again, Zach and I are not saying don't ever file claims. That's not what we're saying at all. We're saying be smarter about it, right? Use your resources, use your professionals in your space. If you don't have a professional, use Zach and I as a resource to ask questions of, right? If we can't do it ourselves, I promise we have a huge network of people nationwide that we can connect you with. I promise, right? Like we are true professionals in the space. Like we can help you with this. And a lot of people just don't know where to go or what questions to ask, right? And so they kind of get duped by some of like the random roofer people working around, or people will walk around parking lots after we have hailstorms and they'll stick cards like on people's windshields, in their doors or whatever.
Yeah,
It cracks
and
me up.
that's like the most important thing as well. So like you can, even if you file the claim right after the event happens, you don't have to get it fixed right away. Your claim's in the system, and then as long as you're not dragging it out too long, you can, like, even if you filed it, like let's say a hailstorm tonight, boom, hits your car, you can file the claim tomorrow, but you could wait until July to get it fixed once the major hail's done. But then at least you know that, hey, it was on this day when the hailstorm damaged my vehicle. Because then if it damages your vehicle more in between, it's just going to be included in that claim because you filed that claim for the hail damage. And then you're going to be, rather than filing 2 claims, rather than, the insurance company would prefer that, honestly, because they would have to pay out here and then, oh, hey, you get hit with hail again. Then we got to fix the same problem again. So you're paying double the amount. So it is smart to be cognizant of when you're filing and when you're getting things fixed based off of the weather and things that could occur.
Something that I like to mention to a lot of people, because obviously in the mortgage space, like we don't advise them on insurance. I send them to experts like you to go ahead and quote them out the coverages and things like that or whatever. But one thing that I want to make sure that people understand about insurance specifically is not all coverages are created equal. Okay. So what do we mean by not all coverages are created equal? I mean that the cheapest price is not always indicative of the best policy. Okay. So yes, understood. You definitely need to be price conscious when you're looking at things, but also don't shoot yourself in the foot by doing super low coverages on everything, because it can really bite you in the rear if you do that. Like a really good example of this is car insurance. So I tell people this all the time. So in Texas, we're only required, what is it now, Zach? Is it 30, 60, 20?
30, 60, 25. So 30,000 per person, 60,000 per accident, and then 25,000 for property damage.
Right. Okay. So what does that mean? That means if you hit somebody else, you're required to have $30,000 that would cover any medical expenses of each individual in the car. 60,000 for the total claim. So if there was 5 people in the car, it would be 60,000 max payout. And then $25,000 is the property damage. So like if you totaled their car, the max it would pay out is $25,000. Okay. The reason that this matters is like in the area in which I live, which is Plano, I jokingly call Plano the land of nice cars. They're literally, if you go to this area called Legacy West, you literally can go buy $1 million worth of cars in about 600 feet. Like it'll be like Lambo, Ferrari, G-Wagon. Like we're talking, it is a line of incredibly expensive cars. So imagine that you accidentally hit one of these cars. None of them are going to be cheap to fix. And if your max payout is like $25,000 for how much you can pay for the damage on their car, they can come after you personally and sue you to be able to get the rest of the money. So if it's $25,000 more dollars, it's $50,000 fix. They can come after you for $25,000. Now they may or may not be successful. They may or may not choose to do that. That's all true, but they can. And a lot of times when people don't when they don't look at those different coverage markers, like the differences, sometimes it's very marginal, like $20 a 6 months or something. Yeah.
Usually it doesn't. And even if you go from 30,000 and then the next is 50,000 and then 100,000. So like even going from like 30 to 100,000, a lot of the times it's not that big of a difference, and you're getting 3 times the coverage. And in the event that you do have an accident, and like Jack said, there's not a lot of cars that are worth less than $25,000 now.
No.
When you buy them, it's hard to find.
Right.
And so to me, the minimum that I ever tell people is 50,000, unless they specifically say, hey, I only want 25. And then I notate the account that says, hey, they wanted the state min, but we offered them whatever we offered them. And so then they know that we discussed it with them. So then in the event that they come back to say, hey, why didn't you tell me that I needed more coverage? We can be like, well, we did actually, but you decided to keep your current limits or go with this limit, whatever it may be. And that's on the flip side of that. The next coverage is uninsured,
underinsured motorist.
So
I love when people don't want to have that one. I'm like, are you crazy? Especially in Texas, where we have a lot of uninsured drivers. Lots.
There's a lot of uninsured drivers. I've had quite a few claims this year already for people that said, yeah, I got in an accident. Somebody hit me, but they don't have insurance. And luckily, all of them have had uninsured motorist coverage, because then that's a flat $250 deductible. Obviously, it's a bummer that you're coming out of your pocket if it wasn't your fault. But it's a lot better to pay $250 than to either try to sue that person who probably doesn't have the money anyways, since they're not carrying insurance. So you already have the coverage, and the limits are the same on uninsured as on underinsured as they are on for liability as well as property damage when you hit somebody. So you can have the same coverage, and it's a $250 deductible, and then you're going to get your car fixed, and you're not having to deal with all the headaches from that. Yeah, in a perfect world, you don't want to have to carry that coverage. That coverage shouldn't exist. But we live in a broken world where people are going to not cover. They're not going to have insurance. So you want to make sure.
Well, not only that, but remind yourself, it's usually really, really cheap. And again, I guess I've dealt with a lot of weird, crazy insurance issues. But like it was several years back, my husband was driving my car. He pulled up to a light, and a woman plowed into the back end of him. So rear-ended, obviously her fault. He got out of the car. She was driving with a toddler in the front seat, no car seat. The police were called. They came out. They did all the things or whatever. So not only was she not on the insurance for the car that she was driving, it was her parents' car, she was an exclusionary and did not have a license.
Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this message from our sponsors. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this message from our sponsors.
Imagine having the power to control your financial destiny, no matter where you start. Welcome to the Financial Mastery Simplified course and resource platform, where financial education is tailored to your unique journey. We cover everything you need, from basic budgeting and saving strategies to advanced investing and retirement planning. Learn at your own pace with lessons that match your level of experience. Whether you're a beginner or looking to enhance your financial knowledge, join our community of learners and benefit from shared insights and expert guidance. The Financial Mastery Simplified course and resource platform equips you with the skills and confidence to take charge of your financial future. Ready to master your finances? Enroll in our courses today at the Financial Mastery Simplified course and resource platform. Start your path to financial independence now.
Hello, and welcome to PBJ Mortgage, where your home ownership dreams become reality. Today, we want to share why choosing PBJ Mortgage is the right choice for your home financing needs. At PBJ Mortgage, we're built on a foundation of values that drive us every day. Our commitment to educate, empathize, and empower our clients sets us apart in the mortgage industry. Our clients are at the heart of everything we do, and their success stories speak volumes. With years of experience, our team possesses in-depth knowledge of the mortgage programs, ensuring you receive expert guidance and the best possible rates. We offer a diverse range of loan options to suit your unique needs, including conventional, FHA, VA, and more. No matter your situation, we've got a solution. At PBJ Mortgage, we pride ourselves on providing personalized service. Our dedicated loan officers are here to guide you every step of the way, making the process as smooth as making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. We understand that time is of the essence, which is why we've streamlined our processes for efficiency and convenience. Transparency and clear communication are paramount. You'll always know where you stand throughout your mortgage journey. Reach out to us today to set up a call to discover your options. If you're ready to make your home ownership dreams a reality, contact PBJ Mortgage today. Let us empower you during this exciting journey. Phone number 4-693-733-107 www.pbjteam.com. Visit our website or give us a call to get started. We look forward to helping you secure your future home. PBJ Mortgage, where home begins.
Thanks for your patience. Now back to our conversation.
Oh, nice.
So even
Yeah.
though my insurance filed to like try to collect money because she was what's called an exclusionary. And for those of you who don't understand what that means is like certain insurances, either by choice or by mandate, they will not allow certain people to be on your policy. So like if you have a teenager that you are literally not allowing to access your super expensive vehicle, you may put them on an exclusionary on the policy, because basically what you're saying is they're never going to drive this expensive vehicle because you know it's going to jack that rate way the heck up and you're going to pay a lot. However, if they're an exclusionary, it means if they do, the teen sneaks into your room and steals your keys and drives the expensive car and crashes it, the insurance company's
There's no
not going to
coverage.
cover it. Even though you have
Yep.
insurance on that car, it doesn't matter. That person is not covered. And that's basically what happened in this situation. So we had to use uninsured, underinsured motorist because
Yep.
there was no insurance that was going to cover that. And did it suck that we had to pay some? You're right. Yes, it sucked. But it was absolutely better than having to deal with the whole back rear end of my car.
Sure.
And, because my car is a newer-ish car, it had like sensors in the back. So there was like a whole thing they had to replace. There were like, a lot of pieces. So
Yeah.
when you're thinking about these things, I get it. You're thinking to yourself, well, man, like I want to have the cheapest thing. I don't want to have to pay more than I have to. I don't even like to have insurance. It sucks, right? I don't want to have it. And you're right.
Yeah.
It does suck, but you have to think further down the path, right? How much is it going to cost me now to not cost me a lot down the path?
Sure. Without a doubt. And that's like we've been talking about for the past 30 minutes, it's every situation's obviously going to be different, but you have to understand the consequences of your actions or what you do. So you want to make sure that you're putting yourself in the best situation in the current time and then for the future as well. And it's just like finances, you can't make an everyday decision where it's going to screw you up for the rest of your financial future. And an incident could occur that an insurance would cover that, or even if you're just buying something that you don't need to be buying, that could set you up for financial ruin in the future as well. So it's just it all comes back down to setting up a financial plan, setting up a household where you're covered in many different areas, and you can do that fairly cost effectively without paying an arm and a leg for it. But once you build your net worth, once you build your assets to a point where you're comfortable, for me, I want to protect them, because
Absolutely.
that's another thing too, is if somebody hits you or you hit somebody else, they can see, oh man, this guy's got a nice car, or hey, this guy's address is this. Oh, look, that's a really nice house. Look, then things start to turn. We're in a very litigious society, so people are going to see that and they're like, "Oh shoot, let's go! It's payday," and you want to make sure
Absolutely.
that you're covering yourself. So just things like that on a daily basis, you need to think about for sure.
Yeah, I remind people all the time that we live in a very YOLO society, right? You only live
Hmm.
once, so buy the expense of this, buy the expense of that. But the truth of the matter is, you shouldn't buy it if you can't properly protect it, because the
Sure.
truth is that what is going to happen is when that one Murphy's Law thing happens, and it always will happen, right? When it happens,
Hmm.
how it happens, exactly the situation, like it just depends, right? But
Hmm.
when it does happen, you don't want it to be like, oh my gosh, man, why did I buy this expensive car and then I didn't properly cover it or whatever? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you don't want that to be the case, because if that is the case, then it can create a lot of turmoil and strife. And I mean, I'm sure almost every listener has seen or heard some of the crazy farmers commercials where they give a crazy example of something that
Hmm.
happened, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, we covered that. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
mean, heck, they probably
Yeah.
will use my house as an example on one of these
Yeah.
commercials soon, Zach. And the
Yeah,
truth of the matter is,
exactly.
I mean, I work in this space. Like, I work in the real estate related space, and I've talked to a ton of realtors, and they're like, wow, that is literally the worst story I've ever heard of, like,
Yeah.
being under contract and this crazy thing happening. And it is. I mean, it's a crazy, horrible situation.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like, thank goodness that we
Yeah.
trusted you, and we had conversations with you about, okay, like, what's the best way to do this? We've got this expensive
Hmm.
asset. How do we handle it? And we didn't just
Yeah.
go for like bottom barrel junky coverage. You know what I mean? And it's made a
Yep.
huge difference. Huge.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Because
everybody
you.
complains about how difficult their insurance like adjusters are. Ours has been amazing. Like,
Yeah.
so super easy to work with, very easy to get a hold of, like very easy to, be very reasonable. I mean, obviously you're not going to get more than what, the concept of insurance, for those of you who don't know, is indemnity. That means bringing you back to exact place that you were when you
Yeah.
before the claim. So, not
Correct.
better, not worse, same. That's the goal,
Yep. Yep.
right?
And that's
And so she's been very reasonable.
yeah. And I had something on the tip of my tongue and I lost it. But yeah, the main thing is you want to. God, that's irritating. It was
That's
something
also
about the
Murphy's
claim,
Law.
but oh, it was. I was just gonna say, kind of. And you mentioned earlier about how you don't want to go with necessarily the cheapest option because that's not going to be the best coverage. And the age old saying, "You get what you pay for." You do. You get what you pay for. So to me, I'd rather pay a little bit more and actually have something on the back end where if something happens, they're going to pay out rather than, oh, hey, I'm going to pay less right now. But then when I actually need it, they're not going to cover what they said they would cover. And so that's one of the reasons why I went to work for Farmers is I feel like they're a company that actually will cover things when they say they will. And it's going to be handled hopefully in a way that, like Jax was saying, that responsive, that you're able to get a hold of people, that you're able to get the coverages that we said that we would cover. So it all comes down to where you wanna put your money and make sure that you're getting the coverage you think you get or the coverage that you deserve when you're paying for it.
I was gonna say, and if you're not working with somebody who's not willing to take the time to explain things to you, to walk you
Hmm.
through it and say, hey, you should consider this, or I kind of recommend you adding this coverage, or, whatever the case may be, then you should probably be finding another company, because I'm gonna be real here, you don't know what you need. I mean, I worked in the space myself, right? Like years and years ago, but I haven't worked in the space for 20 plus years. So I didn't
Hmm.
trust my own opinion about insurance. I knew enough to be dangerous, right? So I could have intelligent
Yeah.
conversation with Zach. But I didn't come to Zach and say, well, Zach, I know everything about insurance. So, because I
Sure.
used to work in it 20 years ago. So let me go ahead and tell you what it is. I said, okay, here's the things that are important to me. Here's what I want. Here's what I'm looking for. What's your opinion? What do you think we should
Right.
add or not add, right? Things like that. And that's basically what you want to be doing, is you want to have your goals set out, your structure of like what you are, because everybody has a different risk appetite. Okay. What do I mean by risk appetite? Like what you're willing to be okay with, right? Maybe you are
Right.
willing to pay out more money, right, out of your own pocket if something does happen, because you don't want to have as much monthly cost. That's fine. That's definitely a choice and something that any insurance agent can work with if they know that. Or maybe you're opposite. You don't care about paying the higher monthly amount as long as when that big ticket thing comes, you don't have to pay next to anything, right? Like you want to pay the lowest amount you possibly can. That's also a choice, right? But like a good insurance agent, if you tell them this is what I'm looking for, this is what I want, they're not only going to tell you here is your things you should, consider, and we can definitely do it this way. They're also going to tell you other things like, hey, you may not have considered this add additional thing, but you should consider it. Here's why.
Right. Without a doubt. Yes. And there's a lot of times where, because I usually like to talk to people over the phone. I'm kind of old school. I'll send people quotes, but then I want to talk to them because that's exactly why. I want to explain that you have this amount of liability, your dwelling coverage is this, your personal property coverage is this, we have an additional coverage here, these are your deductibles, and people don't realize what those mean or what coverages they have. And that's where seeing that low price, and I'll just like a little public service announcement here, especially on homeowners policies currently, is look at the dwelling value, look at how the loss is covered, whether it's actual cash value or replacement cost. You want replacement cost if you can offer it or if they're offering it. And then look at your deductibles. A lot of times you'll get the letters in the mail saying, oh, hey, I can get you homeowners insurance for $1,200 a year. But if you look down at the bottom, there's a little asterisk that says, this is assuming a 5% wind hail deductible. And so a 5% wind hail deductible is 5% of your dwelling value. So if you have a $300,000 home, your wind hail deductible is $15,000. And if your home's worth $300,000, it's probably going to be about $15,000 to replace your roof. So basically you're self-insuring your roof. So you're paying insurance for nothing, really.
The other stuff. You're paying it for like your house burned to the ground and stuff.
Correct. So if you're going into it and and you're okay with that,
sure,
perfect. But there's also people that are like, oh, $1,200 and I'm covered. Sweet, I'm good. And in reality, then they have the roof claim. They're like, oh, well, yeah, your roof's going to be $18,000 to replace, and you have a $15,000 deductible. Here's a check for $3,000. Not going to be very happy at that point. And so, you want to make sure that I like to make sure that everybody's aware of what they're getting and what they're paying for.
I was going to say, yeah. And that's the biggest thing, guys, is like whatever decision you make with any choice, whether it be mortgage, whether it be financials, whether it be insurances, anything, right, that touches the financial space, get there knowingly and just make sure that you've got good information. And if you do not understand what is there, raise your hand. The professional that you're working with should help you. If they don't, that should be a red flag to you. Any professional that is worth their salt will take the time and explain. If not them personally, somebody on their team. They will make sure you get in front of somebody who will make sure that you are good, right? That's just across the board. So understand that you have got great professionals out there who do care about their clients, right? It is not just only about price. And a lot of that has to do with that there is a lot of little nuances in this space. Zach and I probably could talk all day about all those different kinds of nuances, but we won't bore you. I will let Zach give some final words and, kind of where to find him as far as that goes. And then we will sign off.
Awesome. No, thanks for having me on, Jax. I really appreciate it. And thank you for your support over the past few years. It's been great and great getting to know you. So my name's Zach Petticus. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I have an agency here in Flower Mound. If you need insurance, even if you just have a question about insurance and you're not even shopping insurance, we're happy to help in any way we can. We want to be a resource. My phone number is 972-316-6388. That'll get you to the office. And then if you just Google Zach Petticus, there's not very many Zach Petticuses out there, so you'll be able to find me pretty quickly. And as far as the insurance information goes, and just appreciate the time and thanks for having me.
Well, we definitely appreciate you coming on, Zach, and thanks for all your valuable information. It is always a pleasure. And thank you so much for listening to Financial Mastery Simplified. Hopefully this enriched your life in a way and gave you some good information so that you yourself can make great decisions for yourself and your family's financial future. Thanks so much, and we will hopefully see you again next episode.